gentlemen, welcome to the future. My name is Zach Gardner. I'm the chief architect at Keyhole Software. And about 3 to 4 months ago, I set off on a little bit of a journey. I wanted to find people that were using generative AI in the real world, not just talking about using generative AI, but actually using generative AI to increase their revenue, decrease operational costs, to give their company a competitive advantage. And the great news I have for everyone today is I found a lot of these people. With me today is the one, the only, Dan Savino, Senior Vice President of AI and Innovation at SelectQuote. Dan, how's it hanging?
It's going well.
Very good, very good. No, so we got a lot to talk about. I do have to say, this disclaimer at the very beginning. All the views and opinions expressed in this program are explicitly the views and opinions of participants and in no way reflect their employers or any trade organizations they are associated with. So just so we have that clear, this is just two people. We're just chatting, just getting some, sharing some thoughts. And I'm curious, I actually read about, I think, some of the ways that SelectQuote is using generative AI recently, and I think it was the Kansas City Business Journal. So, kind of talk to me maybe a little bit about what it is that you do at SelectQuote, and then, how you're using generative AI to help, increase profits, decrease operational costs. Just, give me a lay of the land.
Sure. Well, one, thanks for the introduction. That makes you sound way more important than I actually am. So I guess about a year ago, we started off, we all did, right? Everyone in the industry started to hear about AI and what was going on. And I think if you're anything like me, you're probably approached by your company leadership and said, hey, look, make AI happen for us. and so we put a lot of time in at SelectQuote to really, on the biggest question for us is where do we even employ this? One of the things that we've seen a lot of companies kind of fall into a trap of is basically starting too quickly. And so a little bit about us, we sell things over the phone. And so we sell insurance products, we sell life insurance stuff, health insurance stuff, home and auto stuff, all those kinds of policies and protections that consumers desperately need. And so we employ really several thousand people that work on the phone, talking to people. And so for us, it wasn't that hard to see where we could bring generative AI into our company. It was really to try to solve things that were happening in our call centers. And so the intriguing thing with generative voice really for us, because we wanted to have these AI units talking with our clients, was as we've seen it work, we've noticed a substantial gain in just our clients being more patient, sitting on the phone a little longer, basically because the AI unit is kind of encouraging them to do so. It's not like a press 1 for yes, 2 for no. It's actually a conversation. And if someone says, oh, how much longer? The AI would come in and say, oh, well, only a few more minutes, or, hang with me and things like that. And for us, we've kind of seen that be extremely successful. In terms of like, if it's changed our core business, I don't think it has. I think it's way too early. But will it? Oh, 100%. I think it will be a game changer for our little company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting that you say that. I'm thinking about experiences that I've had recently where, I've been on the phone and it's like, average wait time is, like 15 minutes. And so I'm just sitting there listening to music of, sort of variable quality. And then, the music goes out and then it starts back up again. It's like, oh man, that stinks. Like, how cool would it be to be able to have a system that, while I'm waiting for the next operator to be available, that, maybe asks me questions about you, like, why are you calling in? What are the things that I can help you with? What are some things you need to know? Maybe if I'm calling in for, a reason that it already kind of has an idea about, what it could help me with. Maybe it even gives me like links to go out and, seek my own information. And maybe it can even answer it so I don't even have to talk to a human. So maybe it'd also be cool too, maybe if it like played a game with me and it's like, hey, while you're waiting, do you want to name this song? And maybe it plays like some songs for you. Just it's really interesting just to hear about like how. I'm not saying that that's not a feature request, by the way. Product owners out there, I'm sure they're rolling in their grave like, oh no, I got to do this now. But it's really interesting that you can marry the fact that you have like this generative system that is there to like help both the consumer so that they're not just hanging out and not doing anything with the operators, because you have a very limited amount of just workforce power, but being able to like supplement that and augment that with generative AI, it's really cool to hear that a company is doing that.
100%. And I think what people don't realize is some of this new technology that's coming out, especially surrounding generative voice. It's not like the chat bots or the voice bots that we're all accustomed to, like when we call Bank of America or the hospital or something like that. These are way more advanced. Um, I'm one of the last people that will ever talk to those things. I hate those those voice bots. So I can just say what's coming down the pike, especially the stuff that we're going to be releasing. I know we're probably way behind the eight ball. I think there's others that are further ahead of us. It is really transformative in nature, and just for the consumer standpoint, they will be serviced faster than they ever have been. And it helps us as a company because you actually mentioned it. Human capital is expensive. And in periods of seasonality where you have to have the ability to scale up or down rapidly, generative voice being able to bring AI into the picture really solves this massive problem for call centers.
Mhm. Yeah, no, for sure. And being able to help both companies as well as consumers, I see as one of the parts that I like most about generative AI. It was back in October. I want to say it was right before Halloween, is when the Biden administration put out the executive order on responsible and ethical uses of generative AI. Some of the things that they were talking about in there were making sure you have a correct chain of custody for any large language model that you train, that you can't exfiltrate it, making sure that you put in safeguards to prevent consumer fraud. I mean, we're just maybe less than a week as of this recording from the New Hampshire primary, where they had someone robocalling and they had trained a large language model with President Biden's voice, urging voters not to vote. And it's like that the FBI is now investigating stuff like that. So there are definitely like ways that we can use generative AI for good. I'm curious if you have like any opinions or anything around maybe like policies that you can put in place as a company to make sure that we're benefiting all the right parts of generative AI without all the potential downsides for just consumers as well as companies.
I'm glad you brought that up, Zach, because that is one of the things that we've done a lot of things wrong at SelectQuote, but we've gotten some things right. And we did it with how we started with our AI journey, in that we actually took the time. We brought in outside counsel with our own inside counsel to do the hard work to form the policy that really governs our use and implementation of AI at SelectQuote. That was not easy. That was not a sexy thing to do. It's just, pouring through just pages and pages, making sure that we're doing everything that we can think of to safeguard our customers, our employees, and ultimately our company, right? So making sure that you have a AI policy that's not just tongue in cheek. It's actually it's actually real, is really, really critical. The other thing that we did, once again, it's an unsexy kind of thing. We stood up our own internal secure model because we didn't want our employees to be, we want them to be able to use AI, but we don't want them to be divulging company assets or IP or anything like that to be trained off of and into the hands of maybe a competitor on the open internet or things like that. So we actually had to give our employees an avenue to use AI that was secure. And so we went through that hard work of getting that LLM behind our firewall, building the interface so that people could actually go back and forth and use it. And we have a lot of people engaging with that every single minute. at this point. And then we not just doing those things. We then went back and we said, okay, what AI companies are out there that people know of? OpenAI, Perplexity, some of the others that are out there. And we took those URLs, and if they're on our network, we then forward them onto our secure platform, just in the event. I'm one of those guys that could say, oh, I'm just going to go into ChatGPT and upload this company document and ask for something. Well, I would go to my company's secured LLM. So doing that kind of thing, those taking the time to do your policy is really critical. Making sure that your employees have a safe and secure avenue to use AI, also incredibly powerful. And then I think the last thing I'd say is training them. And you can never have enough training. And we've run, last week we did a training every single day of the week, and we'll probably need more. And so it never ends. And so you kind of have to have that evangelist or evangelists inside the company saying, hey, rah, this is why we use AI, to get people excited about it and actually starting to use it for themselves so that they can see all the benefits of it. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
No, no, that's really interesting. The most of the other companies that I hear that have set up their own LLM for internal purposes, they're usually like the Walmarts of the world. I believe they have a few in their corporate headquarters that they've actually trained on all their SharePoint sites, like all their internal documentation. They have a LLM that understands that, has been trained, and people can ask, can you summarize these three documents, kind of compare and contrast them and give me what other documents I need to be reading? Walmart actually has some really interesting use cases around text to text. So they will negotiate with competitors with the competitor or not a competitor, a supplier. That's the right word, a supplier interacting with a large language model to try to get them to lower their prices, maybe like 5, 6, 7%. And then at the very end, a human comes on and says, well, you've already come down 7%. Could you come down just like another point? So the human interaction accounted for, just a small percentage of what the overall like discount was, but they were able to scale that much more
Yeah.
easily. And they were able to, just from the fact that they have their own LLM, make sure that there's anything secure, anything confidential, stays within the walls, so to speak. Samsung had a data breach. They were the first one that I heard about probably in March of 2023, where they had employees upload confidential information. It got trained in one of the subsequent iterations of the model. Someone figured it out and exfiltrated it.
Yeah.
Just another attack vector we got to train on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such an easy trap to fall into, right? I mean, everyone's excited about it. And if you're in technology or a technologist or an evangelist for AI, you want them to be using it. But it has to be secure and safe. And that's a tough one. So we did take that time. And actually we're all really glad that we did now. So,
Yeah. No, good call. Very prescient of you. That's today's word of the day is prescient. So we've talked about things that kind of keep us up at night. The monsters underneath the bed. What are some of the things that make you excited about generative AI and Apple Vision Pro? Are you pro? Are you con? What's your opinion of this newfangled device we're going to get ourselves into?
well, we'll get to the Apple Vision Pro in a second.
Okay.
I'm super excited about AI in that just the breadth of the advancements are I mean, they're coming at a pace that as well as I do. It's hard just to stay on top of things day to day. The advancements are coming that rapidly. For us, we are very bullish that over the next 12 months, we're going to see enormous reductions in latency when it comes to the speech to text or the text to speech or the response generation, because for us we're dealing with voice, so we don't have a lot of time. We're dealing with milliseconds. If you go to ChatGPT right now, you type in a question, you'll see it kind of spell out the answer, but it could take 10-15 seconds. We don't have that luxury. We don't have 2 seconds. We don't arguably have 1 second. And our challenge right now is being able to reduce the latency of the response. And so we have lots of little tricks and things, percolation, things like that, that we employ to kind of, smoke and mirror it. But we actually think that there's some really big gains coming out. One of them was just announced just this week, DeepGram's Aura, that's coming out, where they've shown that the latency reduction is tremendous on their text-to-speech. So anyways, it's kind of cool stuff. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, very much so. An Apple Vision Pro. Tell me, you getting one of those things?
I'll be online on Friday morning. I was up last Friday at 7 a.m., put in my credit card information and pressed the button. Sadly, because that was a lot of money. But I'm excited about it because it is something I think we're all going to be talking about for the next year. Whether we have one or we don't, it's going to be the talked about consumer device of 2024. It's arguably the most complex one ever sold, consumer device ever sold. And so I'm intrigued to see what argument wins. Is it going to be like a spatial computing argument that like Apple's pushing forward, or is it going to be something like a rabbit argument where compute just disappears and you're doing everything audibly? Or is it going to be a mixture of the two? I don't know. But they're two drastically different approaches. It'll be very interesting to see who wins out.
I know we're living in the future, and that's why I always say that at the beginning, the middle, and the end. So before I kind of wrap everything up, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to bring up? That we haven't talked about. Anything get you excited? Like what's going through that brain right now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I've learned the hard way, and this is something that maybe your listeners could benefit from. When we started our AI journey, we looked at, okay, where can we make the biggest splash with AI? And we looked at kind of taking over tasks that humans do. That exercise was very tough. We took on several projects along those lines, and we've not been super successful in that type of project category. The category that we've really excelled at is looking at places that humans aren't making a contribution. So we call it found money. So like for us, a good example was we answer a lot of phone calls. We let a lot of phone calls go unanswered too, because we just don't have the people that can answer all those calls. So we put an AI in front of that, and we didn't really care, because if the AI screws up, well, we weren't selling anything to those people anyways. We weren't even answering their calls. At least they got something from us. We were all shocked. That makes us a ton of money every single day, answering calls every single day that we couldn't do before, being able to serve our clientele at a pace that we just hadn't seen before. And so if you are like I was, tasked with, okay, how do you get AI into your company? Look for the opportunities that no one's doing anything right now. That if you do screw up, it's not going to be the end of the world. You might find the path a little easier, as I did. So.
No, really, really interesting insight. So I hadn't heard that before. Thank you for that. I enjoy that. So where can people go to learn more about you, learn more about SelectQuote? Are you on MySpace? Do you have a Friendster still? Are you on, any modern platforms?
Yeah, and I just got off of MySpace, but I'm on LinkedIn. And so you'll find me on LinkedIn. Every now and then I'll post something, and I'd love to make a connection. So if you're interested, find me on LinkedIn and reach out. Love to chat.
Well, definitely. That's probably actually how we met, if I remember right. Or maybe one of the KCAI meetups. Thank you very much, Chris Kovac, for bringing the community together in Kansas City.
That's right.
So that's it, Dan. Thank you very much for your insights. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you, Zach.
And ladies and gentlemen,